Have you been hearing all the buzz about these cheap Chinese diesel air heaters? Have you been thinking about maybe putting one in your RV, van, or bus conversion? Well, I did it. I'll tell you all about it today. Don't forget to stick around till the end because we're going to put my heater to the test.
Yeah, I'm kicking my shoes off.
Okay, so diesel air heaters. These heaters have been popular for RVs or caravans, as they say in the UK, for years. At least I think they have. I think they've been using them. I have something black on my finger. Look at that. There's always something, you know? Something is always weird. See, I painted my nails dark today so you wouldn't be able to see if there was dirt under them. And then I got this big black spot like I just got fingerprinted, like I just came from jail. I didn't, I swear. Anyway, back to the topic. I know that Chinese diesel heaters have been available in this country for about 10 years, but you didn't really see them in the same quantity that you do now. In fact, I remember writing a post on a forum maybe like a year ago asking about them, and people didn't know what I was talking about. In fact, there were people saying, sounds like that's a great way to gas yourself to death or to burn your bus down. You know what they say about opinions. Yeah, everyone's got one. A lot of people had plenty to say about it, but none of them had any experience with it. Now you go on the forums and you see all kinds of people with experience, and there's even like this massive Facebook group of people who just share their information about these things. Basically what we're talking about here are cheap Chinese knockoffs of Webasto and Espar heaters. They go for like $800 or so. They're pretty spendy. But these Chinese ones, you can get them for... Some of them I've seen for like $100. The number of people selling them seems to be going up and up and up, and the price seems to be going down and down and down. So that's making it a lot more interesting and a lot more affordable for a lot of people. I think one of the reasons that it was a little bit intimidating is that typically these don't come with great instruction. They're translated, probably using Google Translate, from Chinese into English, so they're not that easy to understand.
Line layout prohibited by extrusion. Respectfully connected heater host. After the oil way and line are all connected well, the fuel tank is added to the diesel oil.
But now there's a lot of tutorial videos on YouTube where people install these heaters. So now they can go on YouTube, watch a video, and see somebody else do it, and that's great. This is not one of those videos. I'm not going to show you how to install it, and the main reason I'm not is because I did not install mine. I bought the kit with the intention of installing it myself, that, you know, I would just climb that learning curve and do it. But since then, I've learned a few things about myself. The main one being that I probably should not be trusted with projects that involve drilling a hole from the inside of the bus to the outside of the bus. Which is why I still don't have solar panels installed and why it took me so long to get this heater put in. You know that saying, measure twice, cut once? Yeah, my mind doesn't really work that way. Eyeballing things is not a good idea when you're drilling into a bus wall, but what can I say? I am one of the most impatient people in the world. Measuring takes time, and a lot of times I just bypass it. I think, no, it'll be fine this time. I'm like the jaywalker in AA who continually walks in front of cars thinking it'll be okay this time and continually gets hit by a car. That's basically what's happened on the inside of my bus. So here is my heater. It's right under the driver's seat. It fits right in here. And then, as you can see, there's a hole at the back, which is where the duct fits through to spread the warmed up air into the rest of the bus. Oh shoot, what's this doing here? Yeah, mascara, no, that doesn't go under the seat. So here is my understanding of how this works, and I probably don't understand, so hopefully there's going to be someone smarter than me who can explain it correctly in the comments below. On the bottom side of the heater, and this is where the hole comes in because the heater sits on top of a hole and then this part hangs down underneath the bus, there's an air intake, and that takes in air, puts it into a combustion chamber where it mixes with diesel and combusts, and then that heats up a heat exchanger. Now, that air doesn't come into the bus because you don't want diesel inside the bus, so that air vents out an exhaust to the outside. The piece that's underneath my seat here that you just saw pulls in air with a blower motor through the back, and that air gets passed over the heat exchanger and then comes out the other side through a vent into the bus as warm air. That almost sounds right. maybe I'm right. You can use the separate little diesel tank that comes with it if you were either driving a gas vehicle or you don't want to tap into your fuel tank. But I have 2 fuel tanks in here and I very rarely use the rear one, so we just tapped into that. The diesel draws right out of the tank and it barely uses any. It just sips it. What I'm not so sure about though is the electric power consumption. I have it wired currently right into my starter battery because I don't have solar. I will eventually have solar and run it off of that, or if I don't get solar soon, I'm probably going to get a battery isolator just to make sure. But right now, I haven't had occasion to use this heater anywhere where I didn't have shore power. It gets cold at night, and this heater has really been my friend. So how does it feel? Well, it kind of sneaks up on you. That's the best way I can describe it. The first time I turned it on, I was expecting to just get blasted with heat, and it doesn't really operate that way. You turn it on, and I was about halfway back in the bus working on something, and it felt almost like a fan had come on, like it was cool air coming at me, which I thought was weird. I thought, I don't know about this. I get pretty focused when I'm working on something, so somewhere along there I took off my sweater, but I didn't really think about it. And then I kept working, and it took me a while to notice that I was kind of sweating profusely, and I turned it down to about half. I went back to work, and then I thought, geez, I'm still pretty hot, so I turned it down more. And then I basically turned it off. It stayed warm in here for a good 2 hours. By then I was done working, so I didn't turn it back on. I bought the version that doesn't have a remote because I'm cheap. My advice to you is spend the extra money, get the one with the remote, because if I'm in the back sleeping and I need to turn the heat down, I have to come all the way to the front and turn it down. It doesn't have a thermostat. The one that has a remote, you can control it with the remote, and I believe it also has an actual thermostat, so you can set the temperature that you want. I actually have to turn the dial up here to turn it up or down. I don't think I've used it in temperatures too much below 20 degrees. I mean, it's toasty warm. If it were super cold, like we had a cold spell that was, below 0, and I didn't have the heater installed yet, so I can't tell you how it works in that kind of temperature. When the temperature gets that low, I crank up my Perfection heater, which is an antique kerosene stove. I'll tell you more about that in another video. If I fire that thing up in here, yeah, I gotta take off all my clothes within 5 minutes because it gets really, really hot. Through that whole last sequence, I had a big black smudge on the side of my nose and nobody told me. That's the problem with shooting things alone, is there's nobody to tell you when you have a big old thumbprint on the side of your nose. So it's a little weird because I planned this video a while back and it was cold. All of a sudden the temperature shot up to like 65 degrees. We'll still test it out. We're just gonna roast, that's all. Okay, so we're starting the heater. The thermometer's at 60 degrees. So we're gonna see how much we can heat it up in about half an hour, 40 minutes. Because that's about all the time I really want to spend on this. I got other things to do. The thermometer is at 75 degrees, so it's nice and warm. Let's see how much further we can go. Okay, it's a little warmer. The thermometer's now at 85. We're still moving up.
Some people complain about how loud these are, but it's really just about like an air conditioner.
90 degrees. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the heat now because I'm too hot. I can't do this anymore. We were able to increase the temperature from 60 degrees to 90 degrees in about 35 minutes. So I'd say that's a pretty good heater. Granted, that's with the heater going full blast. You can run it a lot lower and keep things a little more mellow. If you are in a colder climate, you want to run it longer and preheat more if you can. I'm going to call that experiment a success. I still want to do the battery experiment. That's the number one thing I'm curious about that I haven't gotten an answer to, is how long does the battery last with the heater going full blast? And will I be able to start my bus afterwards? Will there be enough juice left? So I'll do another video. I think the video would just be too long and you'd get bored, and I don't want you to get bored with me. Please never get bored with me. Okay, look, I know I told you guys that when I hit 50 subs that I would do the tour, and we crossed that line this week. We got like 65 now. It's fantastic. But I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'm not ready to do the tour. I have one more video I have to do first because I already started it, and this stuff's a lot of work. I promise you, we will do the tour. Do you believe me? Would this face lie to you, of all people? I will never lie to you. No, really, I never will. If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. We have links, ladies and gentlemen, right down below. We've got links to my website where you can buy vintage stuff. We've got links to Amazon where you can buy anything. So please check it out. If you spend money on Amazon, I get a cut. If you spend money on my website, I get the whole damn thing. So spend it. It's what we do. We're humans. If you haven't subscribed, why the heck not? It's time for you to do that. You know what you could do? You could share this. You could share it with all your friends, and then they could become subscribers too. And then we'd have a whole tribe. And you know what? It takes a village. Hey, is that a catchphrase? I think that's taken. They tell me I'm supposed to have a catchphrase. I don't know what the catchphrase should be. If you have any ideas, please give them to me in the comments. And if I use your catchphrase, of course I'll shout you out. I'm not going to just steal it. I'm not that kind of person. Even if you don't have a catchphrase, give me a comment. Come on. I work hard. Give me a subscription. That's even better. You'll thank yourself later. Tell your friends to subscribe and they'll thank you later too. I see a lot of thanks in your future, including one from me. Thanks. See you next week.